can support and vote for November 2nd. Tonight, I am pleased to bring to you Clyde Cook running for Senate in Legislative District 5. Clyde, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth, for inviting me.
I've been looking forward to our interview, and I am excited for people to get to know you, your background, your passion, why you're running. You've got a great story. So, Clyde, help the people understand what you've experienced in life and what brings you to this point where you have the passion to run for state senate.
Well, of course, I grew up in, I tell everybody, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I grew up in poverty. My biological mother was on drugs. My father was deceased since I was 4 years old. I was a system kid, basically in foster care for about 18 years. I was labeled in public school, and as a special needs kid, I went through a lot of hardship and challenges that I faced in my life, and I was determined to succeed regardless of the circumstance and the situation that I faced. I wanted to be different, and I wanted people to understand that I didn't have to be a product of my environment growing up in New York City. Of course, I've been here in this great state of New Jersey for well over 20 years. Out of those 20 years, I will say 14 to 15 of those years were in politics. I got involved after I had an opportunity living in Camden, walking Admiral Wilson Boulevard with former Camden City Mayor at the time, council member Frank Moran. We took a couple of look over some potholes and stuff, and he was sharing with me Christine Todd Whitman's project where she had a lot of the manhole covers covered up, and it caused and created flooding towards the backside of Camden on Randolph Street where I resided. I shared with him plenty of my ideas and my concepts and what I felt as far as the vision God has given me about looking over the waterfront at Philadelphia and how beautiful it looks and how Camden should reflect the same thing. However, I explained to him that I felt poor leadership is why we are looking at the condition of where Camden is currently right now, poor leadership. For that reason, I felt that me and him could work together to make a difference, to see a different Camden and its history and the direction that it goes in. However, he took those ideas and went back to his office and utilized that on his website as his own ideas. So it kind of disturbed me.
Yeah.
So at that point, I went down to City Hall and I asked them, what can I do to run for public office? Right. Of course, while I was down there, the clothes that I was wearing wasn't proper representation because I didn't have on a suit or a tie. I was wearing street clothes. And of course, the individual looked at me and said, you? And I said, why not me? I said, don't let the clothes fool you. Amen. So at that point, I put my head into the arena. I ran for council at large, and I was unsuccessful. And nevertheless, I learned the dirtiness of politics because the controversies began to happen because they felt the pastor was going to stand a chance to upset the Democratic machine of Camden County. Right. Of course, we were unsuccessful with our race. We didn't give up. We continued to run for different positions, which I continued to run. I ran for at large, and then my last stint in Camden was running for mayor, unsuccessful. Of course, after moving out of Camden, I moved to Woodlynne with my children, 4 children that I was raising on my own at the time. And I put my hat in the arena to run for council and was unsuccessful there, ran for the school board and got onto the school board. And there I began to do my groundwork as far as speaking with people and learning what mattered to them the most. After that, of course, the Democratic machine reached out to me and they asked me to run for council, and I was successful as far as running for council at that point and served 1 full term on Woodland Borough Council.
So a series of, obviously you are a committed man and you don't give up, which I love. You continue to go and continue to run. Now at this point, you're a Democrat. Now you're on city council. So I want you to talk about, now you're a Republican. So take us from being a Democrat and serving and watching all of the inside politics there. Now you're a Republican. Why? What was the reason you walked away and changed parties?
Well, of course, like I explained to you, there's always something that's going to make you stray away from the party. And unfortunately, I was told from the Democratic chairman of Camden County that it was about keeping my mouth closed, following the instructions, and saying yes if I expected to climb the ladder. Here locally, we had a mayor that is making over $80,000 a year, former mayor Joaldo Fuentes. And at this point, when I found out that he was making that much money, I began to do my own little investigation. I played the Trojan horse theory, which I got inside. I said yes to them on certain aspects as far as, you know, what they wanted to hear, but I wasn't doing what they wanted to hear. Right. You know, when it came to votes, I played very dumbfounded. I asked questions. They gave me answers. I began to take down notation on the things that they were telling me. And when it came to the budget and when it came to the meetings that they were holding, things just didn't add up. It didn't seem right. And to me, you know, one of the things that I point out to people now is when they go to meetings to ask for the full agenda, because your agenda is not their agenda and their agenda is not your agenda. It's a hidden agenda. And folks need to be aware that transparency is very important, because when it comes to your tax dollars, you want to know how it's being spent. And you want to know what they're actually going to put that towards, if it's going to be productive, especially for the betterment and the quality way of life that we deserve to have. So, of course, knowing all this, it was disturbing to me when I attended the meeting and I watched them shuffle the cards when it came to the budget. Money going and being allocated to departments that it didn't belong to, and seeing stuff come from out of my department, which I was over building the grounds, and being utilized for things that was unnecessary. At that point, you know, I took all my documentation that I pretty much collected, and I began to share it with the residents. I began to empower the residents with the documentation. I gained a lot of support from that standpoint, and at that point, I felt that I needed to address the issue with our governor. I went to Governor Murphy during a town hall meeting in North Jersey with another resident, Mrs. Kelly Jankowski, and we presented documentation to both Governor Murphy and to the New Jersey State District Attorney. Both of them had separate copies. Murphy, I explained to him, I am a sitting Democratic councilman and we have corruption in the borough of Woodlynne. What are you going to do about it? Yeah. Unfortunately, Governor Murphy felt that he should hand the baton over to the State Attorney General, and it led to absolutely nowhere. State Attorney General did issue out a letter stating that they were going to investigate the matter. Never happened, never took place. And I continue to take the blunt of all the drawback from the information that I supplied to the governor at that point. Right. I wasn't liked amongst my council members. I wasn't liked amongst the mayor. The mayor actually came over to my house and threatened me and said that he was done with me. 2 days later, he sent a police officer to assault me and my family and our home. To this day, we are still dealing with the aftermath of that stuff. And of course, that made my decision that how could I be a part of a party that allows stuff like this to take place and happen, where, you know, my Fourth Amendment rights is invaded, a cop bursts into my house. It doesn't determine the outcome as far as me not liking cops. I support cops 101%. I love cops. I got plenty of cops that are friends and family members. And at the end of the day, it's just one specific cop that the mayor used to burst into my home to cause disruption and assault my family, pepper spraying and drawing his gun in our house. So it caused me to change the party. Definitely.
Of course it did. You had to at that point. You were paying a price for standing up for the truth and trying to expose the corruption that really frustrates so many voters and citizens to know these things are going on. And we often feel powerless, and we need people to stand up and be willing to sacrifice to be able to tell the truth. And you did that. So now you're running on the Republican ticket as a result of many of those things. And you mentioned one of your main issues, the taxes issue. So when you get to Trenton, Clyde, one of the first things you want to address is taxes. What do you specifically want to focus on, and what are your constituents telling you about their frustration with the current tax situation?
Well, of course, as I walk the streets and I began to canvass the area and meet so many different residents that share their stories with me of their hardship, of the limits that they face, the challenges. Some of the things I come across are folks that are concerned about where their tax dollars are going and how is it being spent, and accountability. And of course, being a former council member, I can explain some of those things, based off of the fact that I worked on a budget before, based off the fact that I know what's actually going on, the hidden details, the lying, the stealing, and the cheating being done inside these municipal offices here in South Jersey. So, of course, when it comes to the high taxes, it just makes me go back and look at my mother, who rolls pennies, nickels, and dimes at the end of the year, and wonder if she can afford to pay her property tax, and be able to still afford her health insurance, and still be able to pay her association fees. Those things are concerning to me. She's up there in age. She's about 78 years old. So I can think about other 78 and older people. I met a 92-year-old man who says up there, and he says, "I no longer vote because I stopped believing." Well, I let him know, sir, this is your opportunity where you have a candidate that do believe. I do, because I am concerned, and I do care about your best interests. So, we want to bring transparency to the table. We want to bring accountability and sustainability to the table. We have to, because people are not getting any younger. They're getting older. And it's our responsibility to serve our constituents to the best of their ability, because they don't have anybody else to turn to. So they turn to those that they place in office and hope that they'll do the job right. But unfortunately, we don't have anybody that's doing the job right. The responsibility lies on both sides of the table, both Democrats and Republicans. We have to learn to work together instead of being divided. So that's one of my biggest things when it comes to the property taxes, working with both sides of the table, picking up that can that they're continuing to kick down the road, and taking up the responsibility of getting the job done, making sure that we can work and come up with a solution to the problems with these high taxes.
And especially
everything is just not about schools.
No, right. It's so true, Clyde. And especially for the elderly, I think that's something that, it's important you keep talking about that, because a lot of people don't talk about that. And the fact that these individuals can't always leave the state, and they can't afford to stay here, and they're sort of stuck in no man's land. Property taxes keep going up, and they're on a fixed income, and many times a very challenging fixed income, and they don't have a lot of choices. So we're seeing families split up. We're seeing elderly who don't know which direction to go. And that specific issue needs to be addressed. Talk as well about your heart for the homeless and veterans, and how you see the issues that they're facing.
Well, over the wintertime, we had a group of people that came together with Tawana Jones, who created warming stations, and one of the schools that were being utilized for a warming station. And she ran a terrific program. We came to the realization that Camden homelessness is high. And it's high because a lot of people are drawing into the city from other places, other municipalities. So one of the things that I addressed with our commissioner, Mrs. Rodriguez, was, do municipalities have funding for hardship? And it was explained to me that every municipality is given funding through the state. So my next question is where is the funding going? Who's in charge of the funding? Who can I turn to? What is the person's name? And each and every municipality, since everybody's migrating to Camden and looking towards Camden, to shelter them. If every municipality is given any cash assistance from the federal government, that money has to be accounted for.
Right.
And with me knowing that what goes on behind those closed municipal doors, my thing is we need to be concerned where those dollars are going and how they're being spent. If we're not seeing that they're taking care of these people that are faced with homelessness. When it comes to our veterans, they don't deserve to be laying down or sleeping underneath a tent city or lying between traffic of 676. No, we want to make sure that they have a place to go, that they have the proper shelter, that they're being given food and opportunity to get back on their feet and to be able to live and have a better way of life.
Right.
Our elderly is not too far from it. Our veterans are faced with the hardship. And then you have those people that are out, unfortunately, on the streets by choice. But we want to still give them the choice of being able to get the opportunity to regain their life, because they deserve to have a better quality of way of life, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot to look at.
But you know what I love is you're focusing on the issues that are incredibly specific to your district as well, which is you representing the people, the constituents in Trenton. Those issues are going to be different than Ocean County, than Monmouth County. You know, all the issues are unique and different. This happens to be top of the list. We have all the COVID issues we all talk about, but you bringing up the homeless, the veterans, the elderly, as it relates to taxes and the transparency. Where is this money? Because Clyde, of course, the money is there, right? It's in the budget. And I agree with you. We need more transparency. Where is it going from Trenton to where, and where does it disappear? Because it seems like more and more money is spent and we make less and less progress. Let's take Camden, for example, right now. How challenging is the homeless problem in Camden? It's not getting better. It's getting worse from everything I've read. So if that's the case, where are these dollars? Where is the support that we keep getting promised by politicians?
Well, I'm a man that is a common sense, not nonsense. And the nonsense that we're getting from political leaders that are in seats for decades, we're talking about non-term limits that are taking place throughout the state, the country, problems that need to be resolved as far as from the political aspect. How it affects the political, the people is these individuals, they get term after term, but they don't keep the promises that they're sworn to make a difference in the life of others.
Yeah.
Camden you're talking about years and years, decades of the same nonsense taking place by elected leaders that continue to get rewarded office. And at the end, who do I blame? Do I blame them for not doing their job, or do I blame the people for not voting different? You can't just vote down the column line. Sometimes you have to break it up. Sometimes when you give someone an opportunity and they don't do the job that they're placed in office to do, then it's our time to say bye-bye and let the next person come in and do the job if they can do it right. When you look over the water and you see the reflection of a beautiful skyline such as Philadelphia, and then you ask yourself, well, Camden used to be the mecca of it all. What happened?
Right.
The first thing you're going to look at is, oh, do you blame the people? You can blame the people to a certain extent, but at the end, it's the politicians, because it's our job to keep business in town. It's our job to make sure that the money is circulating, and it's our job to make sure that we offer the best quality way of life that the people deserve to have. It's about empowerment. It's not about crutching, giving someone a crutch and giving them a Band-Aid and coming up with an excuse why they are allowed and entitled to do things. Right now, we're mandating people and telling them that they have to take the COVID shot, but we're not mandating people to rebuild the place that they live and to be responsible over the place that they live. And putting people in power, we have to put an end to it and put people in place that care about our best interests and not special interests.
Yeah, I love it. Wow, what a great message. It's such an important message and a great way to close this interview, Clyde, because what I want you to do is speak directly to the voters. One of the things that'll make a big difference on November 2nd is for people to vote that maybe haven't gotten engaged in the process before, for them to understand how it directly impacts their lives. And as you say, don't just go down the column. Think about it. Think about the people that haven't delivered and give someone else a chance to make a change in your life. So as we close this out, I want you to speak directly to your constituents and those that maybe haven't gotten involved before, and encourage them to come out and tell them their vote is definitely worthwhile and that we need them to get involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, within the next couple of weeks, even what's taking place right now is people doing early voting. Some folks have already stressed to me that they've already made the mistake and they sent in their ballot too early without thinking, my thing is it's not too late. On November 2nd, I want us to send a clear message that, even in my situation, I was not intended to adopt a mediocre environment. I didn't give up into the failures, and I wasn't accepting being labeled by anyone. I was told that I wouldn't amount to anything, but through my strong ambition and my desire to succeed, I allowed myself the opportunity to serve not just as a council member of Woodlynne, but now I am the nominee for New Jersey State Senate under the Republican Party label. However, I want people to look past the party affiliation and understand that we need to send a clear message of unity, and that we need to put aside our differences and work together to provide the best quality way of life for all generations. I want to provide that special interest which belongs to you and not the status quo. New Jersey needs real leadership. We need people that's going to uphold the Constitution and do the job that they're sworn to do to serve the Constitution to the best of their abilities, as well as our constituents.
Yeah.
We need your help. We need your help to make that difference.
Yeah.
In order to see the difference that you want as far as change, you have to be that difference by voting different. You can't vote down a column line. Spot is on that column line. The D label, it sells all the time, and they know that that D label sells, and that's why they use it.
Yeah.
Less than a clear message that it doesn't have to be a D, it doesn't have to be an R. It has to be about who's about your best interest. I'm about your best interest. And the sacrifice that I have put, cutting grass, mowing lawn to get these lawn signs and to get them in your doors, the $3.50 investment that I put out there on top of the additional investments that I put out there into your families is because I care.
Yeah.
I want to make a difference because I care about your family, your livelihood, your future, and your parents' future. Yeah. At the end of the day, we need everybody's support in making a difference. So I'm asking folks to truly think and go a different direction with this election. Yeah. This election is not about Trump because Trump is not running for public office.
That's right.
He's not our president anymore.
That's right.
We want folks to look at us as individuals that do care, that are and willing to be committed to them, the constituents that we serve, and not the status quo. Yeah. The status quo continue to do the job that they do, and they do it to the best of their ability. They lie, they cheat, and they steal. Right. We want to make a difference. We want to send a strong message out there that enough is enough and the time is now. We shall overcome and we will win this election. God bless.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Clyde. Okay, just give them a website or an email or something so people can contact you.
For those who want to reach out and contact me, you can go to Cook, COOK, #4, NJ Senate, New Jersey, NJ Senate.com. Okay. That's my website. You can check it out there. If you want to send me an email, you can send it at cook4njsenate@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from all of you. You will see plenty of my literature out there, all of my campaign posters. Keep an eye on them so they don't touch them and yank them away. God bless you. And have a good night.
All right, Clyde, best to you. Can't wait to see the results. Really believing that Jersey needs you and your district needs you. So God bless you. We'll be watching you. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Elizabeth, thank you. And God bless you as well.
All right, great. Guys, we will see you next week, and go check out Clyde's website.